They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Political Platform on Ray Power FM. Also, we are on AIT Abuja and AIT International. Coming up from a long weekend, so many stories breaking, some other stories that broke previously developing. Pressures on President Muhammad Buhari to step down as substantive petroleum minister and appoint capable personality to shoulder their responsibilities. So many people, including Femi Falana, that have called on the president to resign from that position. Here's the argument that there's enough work for the president, enough task for him to devote his attentions to as president and not to bother to, of course, have a leg or some eyes on the NNPC. We are hearing the NNPC may indeed come out with their own side of the story today, just as, of course, so many opinions are flying out there over who's wrong or who is right. Some other persons asking the president to ask the two persons emerged in this to step down, Ibe Kachuku and, of course, Mekanti Baru, to pave way for investigations by all the relevant authorities. And we are waiting for the Senate to continue with their investigation. Allegations in the police force over corruption. Issa Misao, the senator, raised it. But it was resonated over last weekend when someone who has been involved with the police raised a similar allegation, saying indeed huge sums of money pass exchange hands for promotion in the force and also deployment. The person that raised the issue indicted the Police Service Commission for not doing enough to stop corruption in the force, but the Police Service Commission has come out to say that his hands are tied, that he cannot discipline the Inspector General of Police, but explain that in the past it has made recommendations to the IG on how the police could perform better, but receive no cooperation from the IG for indeed the implementation of such policies. My name is Amechi Anakwe. These are more what we are going to be giving you today, not forgetting the fact that we should be getting on the phone Dr. Osman Bugaje, the convener of the Arewa Research and Development Project. On Wednesday and Thursday this week, all the leaders of thought from Northern Nigeria will be meeting at the Arewa House, the famous Arewa House in Kaduna, to take a look at the Nigerian Federation and the future of the position of the North in a future Nigeria. A summit that will want to articulate the interests of the North, especially also its position on course for restructuring of Nigeria. Deborah Bordering is with us this morning.
Yeah, if you look at the president holding the portfolio of Minister of Petroleum, it's not new in Nigeria. When Obasanjo was in power for his first term, he was also the Minister of Petroleum. And if you look at the military regime in this country, most of the head of states then were also gave them the portfolio of Minister of Defense. So with the kind of enormous responsibility they have, overseeing so many things at the same time, I think unless somebody is a superpower, that he can devote much time to such responsibility. The petroleum sector is the mainstay of Nigerian economy for now. We pray that the diversification process will scale through. So one is looking forward to a situation where there are Nigerians that can also be relied upon, and that if the president doesn't have so much time to superintend over the affairs of the petroleum sector, I think somebody can be given that responsibility. At a stage in this country, we used to have two ministers in that sector, and if there's still the necessity to have two, or give somebody to hold that office fully as a full minister, I think it should also be considered. But we are waiting for the Senate and looking forward to what they will do with their decision to probe the allegations and counter allegations that we probably have within the NNPC.
The former presidents have, of course, shouted and claimed that they wanted to diversify the Nigerian economy. Even this present administration has said it is one of its priorities. What serves these presidents who were substantive ministers of petroleum to take up that agriculture portfolio, or say education is comatose, I want to fully take charge and revamp that sector? But they will look at crude oil, where the money is. They want to determine who will get what. Of course, I said last week on this program that the way the oil sector is structured in Nigeria, the GMD of NNPC, the petroleum minister, or the president can create billionaires overnight through, of course, patronages being dished out. Ijoma Osamo is also with us in the studio.
Thank you, Amechi. I would like to take us back to when President Muhammadu Buhari was inaugurated, and he actually harped on clearing the audience table, fighting corruption. And he decided to make himself the Minister of Petroleum because of the corruption, perceived corruption around the oil sector. And if today what we are hearing from the Minister of State of Petroleum is this kind of information, it's not a palatable information that we should digest now as Nigerians. If we say we are fighting corruption, let us start from when the president came in. I remember what El-Rufai said: if you don't kill corruption, no, I mean the former, if you want to kill corruption, you have to kill NNPC.
That's the governor of
Kaduna State, El-Rufai. You have to kill the NNPC. These were the words they used when the president came out to say, I will supervise and supersede the activities that is going on in the oil sector, so that I try and close those holes, those potholes. But what we are seeing now with the allegation coming from the Minister of State of Petroleum and the controversy between him and the GMD of the NNPC, I think there are questions we should ask the president. What is happening? If under his watch as the minister of that sector, we are still having this kind of corruption, then let us go and dig deep.
Welcome to the mail segment. I'm Etenikan Akipu.
And I'm Ife Nwanwobi. Good morning.
We begin with the qualification of the Super Eagles for Russia 2018. And Korode Oluwasomi from Ibadan in Oyo State says, last Saturday, not more than 30 boys and a coaching crew reminded us that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. Yes, they did it against Zambia, and that landed Nigeria a ticket to Russia 2018. Excellent. Everyone in the stadium was in one accord and in unity and was looking for one thing, and alas, it came. Goal! The shouts erupted. My neighborhood exploded. I could see joy and celebration everywhere, and I heard we won. Nigeria is going to the World Cup next year. The lesson here is that we can build this nation if we tie it to a goal, not our differences. Those differences were there within that 90 minutes, and the whole nation stayed glued to their TV set, looking for that one goal. Yes, we can. And true, we can. Let's look for one goal as a nation now and pursue it. Forget the differences. We will always have them. Great nations do have their differences, but they have become great because they strategically tied their vision and aspirations to one goal. To become great, let us all join hands to build a new Nigeria. God bless us all.
Still on that, Emmanuel Otarifu from Maraba in Nasarawa State says, having watched with keen interest the World Cup qualifier between Nigerian Super Eagles and Zambian Chipolopolo on Saturday evening, I saw clearly a big lesson to be learned by Nigerians. There was no tribe, no religion, no region, no APC or PDP. The only focus was the goal. No one cared if Gernot Rohr is a Nigerian. When Ogenye Onazi was substituted due to injury, I did not hear the cry of witch hunt or marginalization. There was no Biafra nor Arewa youths, but just the goal. The good teamwork put together resulted in the winning goal through Alex Iwobi that put all Nigerians in a joyful mood across board. The three arms of government, the Group Managing Director and Minister of State for Petroleum, Ibe Kachiku, and Mekanti Baru, government and its citizens and so on, must work in turn for the good of all. Anybody that sustains any injury that could obstruct the workings of Nigeria should be substituted peacefully. By so doing, the national goal would be scored.
And more on that, Comrade Monday Ame in Abuja says, the team spirit demonstrated by the Super Eagles is what Nigeria needs to douse the various agitation in the country. The players all collaborated and cooperated to achieve these unprecedented results, which is devoid of sentiment, religion, ethnicity, and federal character. All we need is to use our best brains and legs in the right places to achieve results. I call on the federal government to provide the needed resources for the team to enable them prepare adequately for the World Soccer Fiesta in order to do our country proud and undoubtedly break the jinx by becoming the first African country to win the World Cup. Yes, we can.
And on the state of the nation, Nweke Franklin Uzoma from Kaduna State says the recent revelation by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, about the whopping 118 trillion naira Nigeria has amassed from the sale of crude since 1961, when she started reaping the gains from crude sales, is mind-blowing. How can it be said that after amassing such outrageous set amounts, Nigeria, and indeed majority of Nigerians, save for the few political elites, still suffer and wallow in such hyper degree of deprivation, poverty, hunger, and abject penury? Nigeria's institutions are still in its most questionable states, lack of visible infrastructures, and total decay of existing ones, political misdemeanor, and financial mismanagement everywhere, without remorse or appropriate sanctions to offenders. May God save Nigeria.
That's it on the mail segment. Keep your mails coming. Send them to politicalplatform@yahoo.com. And congratulations to the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Bust it!
They present the popular radio program Political Platform on the Ray Power FM network. Ray Power FM Political Platform, now on television. Keep track of the country's polity and be part of the process as they discuss and put political developments in the country into perspective. It's Ray Power Political Platform on AIT Abuja.
Thank you so much for the mails. Well, we did not entirely keep out teachers during that day's last week's celebration of World Teachers Day. We chose a letter that, of course, raised the issue. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to indeed go into, of course, the plight of teachers in Nigeria. It's one that we must always raise. The Teachers Restoration Council of Nigeria telling us just yesterday that about 1.8 million teachers have been registered by it. Several others are on registers, telling us that there are quacks. But we cannot take a look at teachers without, of course, looking at the wider education sector. I always challenge people to point at one building, one new school that is being built, primary, secondary, by any authority, local, state or federal government. There you will hardly see this, despite the fact that our population keeps growing, keeps expanding. You see new districts in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Enugu, Port Harcourt springing up, but you hardly see new schools being built. What you see, some governors renovating existing schools, and of course celebrating as if, of course, they have achieved and solved all the problems in the education sector. Some of our listeners also talked of the success we achieved, the first African country to qualify for the World Cup in 2018 in Russia. Of course, the team was selected based strictly on merit. Can we select a federal cabinet and attach portfolio strictly on merit? Can we choose the heads of parastatals, their management, based on merit? Even the executive committees of political parties, can we do it on merit? Are we not going to see allegations of marginalization, discrimination come up? We have the federal character principle that determines how indeed positions should be shared, even when some governments do disregard them. How do we put all this together? How can we survive as a nation when we know that we don't put out our best to manage sensitive responsibilities and expect wonderful results in return? These are part of some of the questions that we are
I think there was a time in the history of this country that graduates in Nigerian university, as few as the universities were then, they were recruited on the campuses. By the time they finish their NYSC, they already have a job. They already have a letter of appointment. And those recruitments then were based purely on their academic performance in the various universities. Today, we don't have that kind of luxury because there's population explosion. And what we have is that people are recruited sometimes secretly. I can't say confidently there is no state in this country that doesn't have their brightest. But unfortunately, because of the process of recruitment, the brightest doesn't get the jobs. And so what we have is a place where somebody with a first class and an expert in that, an emerging expert in that, in a particular field, will not get the job. Somebody with an ordinary pass will get the job because he's able to collect a letter from somebody in a high position. And those are some of the things which I think we have. It's not a situation where we don't have the best. And so if what happened in the selection of the Super Eagles can be replicated in such a way that the best gets the job, and then not that those who are not the brightest will also be left unemployed. There are other places where you can also fix them. I think it will be better for this country. And then coming to the issue of teachers, yes, I can say confidently that we on this platform will cherish and applaud the contributions of Nigerian teachers. Without the teachers, I won't be where I am today. Somebody taught me from when I started under the tree, because I was not fortunate to go to nursery school, under the tree, and gradually moved from there to primary school, and from primary school to all the education qualification I was able to obtain. One is particularly sympathized with Nigerian Union of Teachers, because in the course of fighting Boko Haram in the northeastern part of this country, 600 teachers have so far been killed in their respective schools. And I think it's a shareless news. We sympathize, we condole them, and we ask them not to allow them to dampen their enthusiasm in pushing ahead that the goal of what we intend to achieve, education for all, if government will eventually put it on the table for us to prosecute as a policy, cannot be achieved without the teachers. So we say kudos to the teachers, even though belatedly.
Okay, the North, a group we told you earlier in northern Nigeria that calls itself the Arewa Research and Development Project says there's a need to pull every citizen, prominent citizen of that part of the country together in Kaduna Arewa House on Wednesday and Thursday this week. That should be, is it 11th and 12th? That is it. And they want to talk to themselves with a view to ascertaining and adopting a particular positions that the North will take as regards the current course for the restructuring of Nigeria. Who in northern Nigeria is expected to attend, and is the summit topic is the future of northern Nigerian, the future of the Nigerian Federation, and of course the position of the North. So we are making efforts to get on phone the convener of that summit, Dr. Usman Bugaje, to of course speak to us on, of course, what that summit is all about. If you recall, the Southwest had at a rally in Ibadan some weeks back said we should get back to the 1960 or 1963 Constitution as, of course, a way of remaking Nigeria and, of course, having the glory days being restored back. Some other nationalities, such as the Chiefs, are calling for, indeed, a new conference, a conference of ethnic nationalities, they called it, to, of course, take a look at the future of Nigeria with a view to deciding and dialoguing on the way forward. The Southeast and the South-South always insist on a restructured country. The leader of the Ohanese just last weekend restating the position of the Southeast, saying they are not for disintegration of Nigeria, they are not for a separatist state of Biafra, but a restructured Nigeria. The underlying current in all the positions from the North is that you cannot restructure Nigeria by way of intimidation, that you must carry every group along, including the North, and of course the interest of the North must be factored into any talk towards restructuring Nigeria.
It's the interest of all the regions in Nigeria will have to be factored into any talks of restructuring in Nigeria. When I at times I watch what the APC government is doing. The APC, let me not just go into their government, taking their town hall meetings to decide on to ask Nigerians what they actually want and how they want restructuring. That we will applaud, but we still have to ask questions. These things they are doing, are they in the right direction? Are the people being carried along? Is it not a political party affair thing? Because that has been the norm in this country. When a particular political party comes up to say, okay,
okay, let's find a solution. They just pick their members to be part of that town hall meeting. And at the end of the day, we don't get a perfect result from what they want. I think Nigerians should buy into this. Let them go, because if they don't go, if you remain in your house and you don't attend that town hall meeting, you will make it look like a perceived angle of a particular political party. We should not look at political party issue now. We shouldn't be looking at I am a member of this, I do not want to do this. The project Nigeria is for all of us, and we must protect that project Nigeria. We must keep this country united, and if we do not come out to tell people this is what we actually want, we will not get a solution to our problems.
And in all these talks, I just hope that those putting up positions should think of the current state of Nigeria. Just this morning, I learned of a new and not very encouraging news coming out in terms of child malnutrition. 2.5 million Nigerian children are malnourished, with 500,000 of them possibly giving up life in 1 year alone if nothing drastic is done to that. Some time ago on this program, I raised all the indices of development and the position of Nigeria, the very shameful position of Nigeria in all this, talking about mortality rates, maternal and child number of poor people in the country. Name them, we seem not to be getting it right. These are some of the issues we must, of course, interrogate. How is it that this country that used to be one of the best ranking, higher and above, even the Asian tigers that are reference point, including China, at some point is now falling far behind centuries or rather decades back? How do we retool the nation in such a way that indeed will revert these negative movements and move forward? Why is it that all the negative things appear to be dominant and prevalent in Nigeria? We are talking of killings, decapitations, kidnappings. Some of the mails we received that we couldn't even take, that core members now are even targets. Nobody appears to be safe. We know that we have these problems, but we know that Nigeria has the capacity to get beyond this problem and, of course, get to the so-called promised land.
Amechi, retooling Nigeria is a collective responsibility of every citizens of this country, whether we like it or not. I have said it before that we do not have to take side. We should be apolitical because this country belongs to all of us. If we have to retool Nigeria, we need to look at the problems we have. Imagine, look at corruption in the oil and gas sector, even in the security sector. You see allegations of this against the IG of police, allegation of that against this person. And at the end of the day, nothing is being done. What about the issue? Somebody raised a mail. We read a mail. What about the issue of the SGF? What is happening to that issue? Nobody is looking at it. If we look at all that has happened in Nigeria since 1999, I think we all know where our challenge is coming from. But for how to solve this problem is what we do not, because we are being selfish. We have politicians that are looking after their own personal gains instead of the general gains that the individual Nigeria will enjoy. The selfish nature of our politicians are the problems of what we are having today.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get Dr. Usman Bugaji on the line, but of course, if we can't do it today, we'll do it in the days to come. But Adebayo Bodure did not is about to adopt a position. But the underlying factor there, they have always said, is that they cannot be bullied into restructuring. If you must restructure Nigeria, you must do it in the most peaceful, civil manner. And of course, it must be done based on the laws of the nation, using the National Assembly as the driver, and of course you must factor in the interests of all, including Northern Nigeria.
I think one remarkable thing about the conference that is built for Wednesday and Thursday this week is that it's going to be a mixture of academic scholars in the north and the real politicians, and of course also the religious and regional and traditional rulers will also attend that conference. And it's a welcome development, because it's better for us to, like Dr. Bugaji said in one of the interviews he has so far granted. He said they will take a decision. They will take a position on the issue of restructuring. Then they will go around the country and discuss with all the other geopolitical zone in such a way that they can reach a consensus. And I think what we need over this issue is actually consensus and compromise.
Good enough, everybody's talking, and of course at regional level, some other people are meeting across a regional level, and before you could say Jack Robinson at a national platform where differences would be, of course, eliminated and consensus generated on the way forward for Nigeria. Thank you so much.
But Amechi, sorry, I want to ask a question. After all these meetings by regional meetings, what will happen to the report? Because we've had national conferences in this country.
Much more pressure on the government. Usman Bugadia is saying that when everybody indeed puts their position to the government, they will be forced to take action. But we must thank you so much for being part of today's edition on Tuesday. We continue from on behalf of the crew. My name is Amechi Anapwa. Have a nice day.
Busted.